So we know that Twitter is a mess. It's really a great time. I'm having so much fun. Comedy was legal, then it was illegal. Now it's legal again. It's a win for us. So we're gonna get to some of the serious stuff in the moment of what's going on with some of the fights within Twitter, what Elon's doing with the company. But first, we want to highlight our Twitter holiday and some of the greatest hits to come from Twitter's tumble. So, Rudy Giuliani. Nancy Pelosi and I do not agree on many things, but then thanks, I tell you what. So, oh my gosh.
That is the last thing I'm gonna think about before I die. On my deathbed, I'll just see the Rudy Giuliani, them thanks, and tweet.
On a billboard. I want it on the side of the 405. Tesla then says, you can't just build cars that explode anymore with the way cancel culture is these days. Oh my goodness, another Tesla tweet. Breaking, a second Tesla has hit the World Trade Center. Oh my gosh. I mean, I heard an analogy that someone said, this is like if the Titanic was sinking and instead of fleeing the ship, we all start grabbing pieces of the iceberg and throwing it at the captain. All right, then we have George Bush telling us how he really feels with, I miss killing a sad face. And I think it's hilarious that the subject is gaming. George Bush is playing video games like, man, it's not the same as the real thing. And I love this. This is Ron DeSantis' new profile, which really I think suits him more accurately. I am your God now. Trump is a little bitch. Top accomplishments. 8,541 Floridians dead from COVID, unaffordable housing, collapsing property insurance market. And then of course you can see the emblems of fascism. So absolutely brilliant. Then this one is dear to my heart as someone who cares a lot about American intervention. Chiquita Banana, we've overthrown the government in Brazil. I love it so much. And then this one's a banger, right? This one actually has big consequences. So Eli Lilly had to apologize for a fake tweet because someone impersonated the account, said we're excited to announce insulin is free now. We know they're price gouging for insulin. And then they had to apologize and say, we apologize to those who have been served a misleading message from a fake Lilly account. Our official Twitter account is LilyPad. Then their their value in the stock market started crashing after this tweet. So you can see there are some people who lost a significant amount of money. I'm not sure why this happened. Some people saw the tweet, thought it was from a real account. They said, well, if insulin's free now, we're not gonna keep profiting off of people being sick, so let's sell these stocks. This last one, I just think it's hilarious, but we do have a disclaimer at the end. But here's Doja Cat, who changed her account to Christmas, who said, I don't wanna be Christmas forever. Elon Musk, please help, I've made a mistake. Elon says, you should be able to change your name now. And then Doja Cat is Elon Musk replying, thank you. So unfortunately, that was an edited photo and Doja Cat changed her name to something else ridiculous other than Christmas, not Elon Musk. But it's so funny. I don't care if it's fake. Watch Twitter burn and let's all laugh while it happens. I'm having a great time. Rayyvana, what do you think about all this? Are you a fan?
Oh yeah, this is the most fun I've had on Twitter since Trump got COVID. Honestly, like the memes that came out of that moment were great. The time where Steven Crowder was like saying that he had to go to the hospital, that didn't tweet for like a week, was also, there was some really good memes to come out of that. Like this is just a fun moment. Like a lot of good memes coming out of it. Also, an update for anyone who was curious: Doja Cat changed her name to Fart. Which is what she wanted to do there. But I was saying before the show started, I was genuinely like afraid that I would wake up this morning and just wouldn't have Twitter, because watching all of this come crumbling down, well, Elon Musk is just continuously tweeting sideways laughing emojis, which we all know it means that you're the most mad you've ever been in your entire life. But like, I really have enjoyed using Twitter. I've met a lot of really cool people through Twitter. I got my job working for TYT through Twitter. So I'll be like genuinely sad if the company tanks and we don't necessarily have a platform to fall back on. Also, like I have a lot of concerns about the way that they are handling privacy information. As someone who has applied for verification before, I had to send a picture of my ID into Twitter, and I'm sure that information is stored somewhere. And now I feel like they're really, liable to be open to like privacy attacks, and I'm afraid that my information is going to be released somewhere or be purchased by someone. So like while the comedy is flowing freely through the app, there's also just this thought in the back of my mind that like I don't want this to end,
Yeah, the comedy's great, but I'm weighing it against Elon saying stuff like activists are the reason we can't have free speech because they're organizing against the advertisers who are pulling their advertisements from Twitter, and we're losing so much money, and that's terrible. Are the activists actually destroying free speech though? Because we have a right to protest guaranteed by the First Amendment. So Elon himself is attacking the First Amendment? Not so good, not so good. So let's get into some more details about Twitter. Basically, what happens next is Twitter decides to pause verifications. Look at this headline. After users abuse service to impersonate brands and people. So let's talk about what got us to this disastrous but hilarious point in Twitter history. So immediately after buying Twitter, Elon did the following thing. Days after Elon took over Twitter, just a few days after, the day after some people got these emails, he booted top executives. He slashed the headcount by 50%. He pushed engineers to work harder and fast-tracked feature to charge users to buy a verification checkmark. That is the $8 you can pay to be verified situation. So half of Twitter's 7,500 workers lost their jobs thanks to Elon. These are real people with real families that woke up to emails, woke up not being able to log into their accounts. People are calling this the purge. This headline says the Elon Musk purge has begun. Twitter employees tell the world they've been fired via Twitter, which is an interesting situation. But this could present legal troubles for Elon Musk, especially when you have companies like Eli Lilly actually having financial consequences to what's going down on Twitter. So a class action lawsuit has already been filed accusing the company of failing to comply with Federal Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act, or WARN Act, which requires employees with 100 or more employees to provide at least 60 calendar days advanced written notice of a mass layoff. So he's facing some internal lawsuits from the employees that got fired. It's ridiculous that he did this, but it's not the first time he just decides to ignore the laws that exist so he can continue making money for himself. So what's on the horizon for Elon and Twitter? It's not looking good. So he said that the social media company Twitter could go bankrupt. He said there's a massive negative cash flow and bankruptcy is not out of the question. So not so good for Elon. He's been the head of many companies before. When he was the head of an online banking company that got bought up by PayPal, he was then in leadership of PayPal by an accident of the universe. And the board was negotiating, how do we get him out of here? Because he's gonna make this company go bankrupt. And people talk about him like he's a brilliant businessman. It's really not the case if you look behind the curtain. So I wouldn't be surprised if Twitter actually does end up collapsing thanks to this man. Rayyvana, what are your predictions?
Yeah, first I want to say I have been permanently suspended from Twitter not once but 2 times and crawled my way out of the depths of hell to get back on this app. So optimistically, I'm hoping that he's sort of booted out and that the app doesn't go away completely. If I'm being realistic, I think that it's going to go bankrupt relatively quickly, and he will, for the first time, I think maybe the emperor might have no clothes, because he has very publicly made major mishaps with Tesla and SpaceX, and sort of been able to skate by But I think that if he puts Twitter under, I think that this one will maybe be the last final nail in the coffin on the illusion that Elon Musk is this wonderful businessman. I will also say I have a lot of concerns about. First, we mentioned he went in and he immediately fired the woman who was responsible, made the final call on banning Trump from Twitter. The other thing she was doing was fighting legal battles to prevent Twitter from having to turn over user data to the United States government and law enforcement agencies. So this is someone who is actually fighting for the protection, the privacy rights, and free speech of the users on their platform and preventing them from being released to government agencies who might, be looking to prosecute them. Another thing that Twitter has, they have a human rights department, which was entirely let go when Elon Musk stepped into that position. And the reason why it has a human rights department is because there are activists who are in exile from their home countries who are speaking out against dictators and authoritarian governments, and they are at risk of those governments attacking the platform to try to get information about where that person is and personal information that they can use for nefarious reasons. So there's a human rights team to protect those activists, to ensure that they have the right to speak out against their governments with some level of privacy, while also being able to do it publicly to generate interest and to continue to promote their activism. So the idea that this man has stepped in to protect free speech, all he has done is the exact opposite of that, and charged everyone $8 on top of it. So just ridiculous.
I think we have to mention in this story that Elon Musk is such a sad and insecure man who is recently divorced, and how much of his personal psychology plays into this when you have an insecure man buying a platform where people go on there. Some people call it the bad place or a hell site. What do you think's gonna happen? I mean, seriously, but let's also mention that Grimes, his ex-wife, is in circles with people like Chelsea Manning, who is someone who I'm sure has had to be a subject of conversation in the human rights department of Twitter. Like, when you are a billionaire with this much power and these are the people in your circles, you can make decisions that impact people for a reason of your own personal beefs that have global consequences. And so very scary times. Any last thoughts on this, Rayyvana?
Yeah, just before the site goes down, make sure that you tweet out the picture of Elon Musk and Ghislaine Maxwell as much as you possibly can. Go out fighting.
Absolutely, that's great. I saw there was a tweet that was like, these are the two founders of Tesla, which is hilarious because neither of those two people are the founders of Tesla, Elon included. He ended up buying into the company, so that was a great one. But yes, retweet the video of Ghislaine Maxwell and Elon Musk. I second that.